Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. At the end of a week when a retired senior Supreme Court judge as well as a top editor have been accused of sexual assault, with me to discuss both incidents is India's former Attorney General and Solicitor General and one of the most highly regarded lawyers in the country, Sohri Sorabji. Mr. Sorabji, let's start with the Justice Ganguly case. A committee of 3 judges appointed by the Chief Justice of India have identified him as the judge referred to by a legal intern when she claimed that a senior retired judge had molested her. This is, I say, probably the most serious accusation ever leveled against a retired Supreme Court judge. As a former Attorney General, how do you view what's been alleged?
Well, I don't know whether the committee has accepted the allegation. The fact is, she had said a retired judge. The thing exactly was, there were too many retired judges. They wanted it should be named because the crowd
You're
would be
right when you say that we don't know as yet whether the committee has accepted the allegation. But we now do know that the judge alleged is Justice Ganguly.
And that's bad enough.
That's bad enough.
Yes, of course.
Now, in fact, the intern in an interview to legallyindia.com has said that she's aware of at least 3 more girls who've been molested by Justice Ganguly.
Same person.
Same judge. Do you get the feeling Justice Ganguly is appearing as if he's a serial molester?
No. On the contrary, my feeling is, if these interns come out with this months after and without giving any details, I think it's not fair. Who are the 3 other people? You can say anything in this country and make this allegation?
But just because a certain passage of time has passed, and in fact it's not even a year to be honest, just roughly 10 or 11 months, doesn't mean to say that the allegation is untrue for that reason.
No, you are right, and not untrue. But to my mind, I have misgivings about it. I'm not saying instantly, but why not within a month at least? You are making a serious allegation.
Because sometimes the young girl is nervous, sometimes she needs to think carefully about what has happened. It's not an easy thing to go public with the fact that you have been molested. After all, you're putting yourself in the domain of the public in a particular light which is not necessarily favorable. It takes courage to do it.
I understand, Karan, the pressures. No girl likes to go public because after all she becomes a subject matter of conversation, during a conversation. But what I object to is an allegation 3 other girls. That I don't...
Well, the intern has said that she's aware of 3 others. Whether they're interns or not, I don't know. But this intern has said that she's aware of 3 other girls who have not gone public for whatever personal reason of their own. But the fact is, if it's true, it puts Justice Ganguly in a particularly invidious and distasteful light.
I agree, but I like to emphasize the if. And I have a very grave doubt about the if about 3 other people. In her case, of course, she has said it, she's given a statement, different matter.
Let me put this to you. If and when the report of the committee is revealed and made public, it turns out to be the case that the committee has accepted the allegation, what action should the Chief Justice of India take?
I don't think the Chief Justice can take anything about a retired judge. Then it will be the ordinary process of law. If it makes out a cognizable offence, then I suppose FIR registration is almost compulsory.
In fact, what has now emerged is that a cognizable offence is in the public domain, which surely means that the Justice Ganguly case comes under the Lalita Kumari judgment delivered just 6 or 8 weeks ago, where the Supreme Court said that if a cognizable offence comes into the public domain, it is then the duty of the police to suo motu act. Surely that follows in this case.
Yeah, but Karan, I'm not too sure whether it means without reference to, not in this case. Suppose...
Well, let's refer to Justice Ganguly because that is the case in point.
Okay.
It's a cognizable offence, it is in the public domain. Lalita Kumari judgment surely requires that the police have to act.
But Lalita Kumari judgments are interpreted to mean that there must be prima facie substance in the allegations made in the FIR. Not that you make an FIR about a cognizable offence.
The girl has gone public with the fact that she was molested. She says that it happened in a hotel. She says that it happened in December 2012, roughly the time of the Nirbhai case. Surely, if that is in the public domain, under Lalita Kumari, the police have to act.
So that means, according to your reading of the judgment, if a person makes an allegation, that's in the public domain and the FIR must be registered?
Aren't those the very grounds on which the Goa police have registered an FIR suo motu against Tarun Tejpal? At that point in time, the complainant had not made any complaint. She had not asked for any FIR, but her email had been leaked. Therefore, her allegation was in the public domain and the Goa police took suo motu action. Surely that follows in the Ganguly case as well.
No, no, Goa police action is not binding on this. What is the correct thing to do? And that's my point. My point is you're right. If there are allegations which are otherwise substantiated, for example, suppose the Supreme Court report comes to the conclusion, unfortunately, the man concerned is so-and-so Judge Ganguly, and there seems to be prima facie some substance, then of course end of the matter.
Well, one moment. The Supreme Court report, the inquiry committee report, has already come to the conclusion that the judge being referred to has been named as Justice Ganguly. What we don't know is whether they've upheld the allegation.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you a second question. Should that inquiry committee report be made public?
I think so.
You think so?
Because after all, it refers to an institution like the judiciary. They reported the committee. The most idea of keeping it secret.
So the first duty bounden on the Chief Justice is to make the inquiry committee report public.
I think it would follow the very fact that he appointed the committee because of the serious nature of the allegations.
So he
and then to keep it, not make it public, I think wouldn't be quite fair, wouldn't be quite correct.
And if the committee report upholds the allegation, you've said to me earlier that the Chief Justice has no course of action himself to take, the law must step in.
If. But suppose the committee says there's no substance.
Now that's another matter. If there's no substance, then...
End of the matter.
Well, not necessarily.
Well,
the Lalita Kumari comes in and the police may choose to pursue it suo motu, but that's up to the police.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Now, let's widen our discussion. In an interview to legallyindia.com, the very same interview I referred to earlier, the same intern has said that she's aware of 4 other girls.
You said 3, now becomes 4.
3, let me correct your misunderstanding.
Yeah,
she's
fine.
aware of 3 other girls who have been molested
So
by
including
Justice
her, it becomes
Ganguly.
4.
Right? No, she's now aware of 4 other girls, more than the other 3. 4 more separate girls who've been molested by other judges.
Other judges?
Yes, and she said so in her interview to legallyindia.com. Does this suggest to you that we have a wider problem in the judiciary?
Well, no, because I frankly do not believe these things. Other judges unnamed, interns unnamed. It's easy to make this allegation.
Why don't you believe it?
But I mean, there must be some substance.
But just a moment.
You can't be
when you
making
inquire,
allegation. Yeah.
the substance will possibly emerge. People don't make allegations loosely necessarily. You seem to suppose the intern is making loose allegations.
Well, not loose. What I mean is rather serious allegations without giving necessary particulars. Suppose someone says, wouldn't your first question be, my dear girl, who are these other judges?
Mr. Swabji, you're a former Attorney General. You're also a wise elderly man. It's not easy for a young intern to make an allegation that a judge has molested her, which is one reason why the 3 that she claims have been molested by Justice Ganguly have chosen not to go public.
Okay, but
if it turns out that there are other girls who within the close confines of their friendship are telling each other that they've been molested either by Justice Ganguly or by other judges, surely the judicial system must begin to inquire to find out if it's true.
But Karan, there must be some basis, some other judges without anything. Yet he gave details
You mean one-
about the hotel
one-
room, other things. What other judges? Any other judges? Unnamed.
So the fact that there are allegations that are reported in magazines and in interviews of other judges molesting girls doesn't mean that there's a need for some inquiry, whether it's a quiet inquiry rather than
I
a
would
public
not
one.
take any countenance of such allegations without at least the person saying who the judge is. Name the judge. Don't do this. I have grave doubts about this. Name it, so then you can do it. It's very unfair to the institution.
So
people think, there are other judges
So the
who are
wider
there.
allegations made by the intern in her interview to legalindia.com are not allegations that concern you or worry you. You're saying we can't take any action on them unless she gives more details, unless she names the judge, unless the interns themselves come forward.
About the other judges, huh?
About the other
Ganguly,
judges.
you have finished, yeah. About other, yes, of course. You are making an allegation, it brings the whole institution in disrepute. It's a very serious allegation with serious repercussions, and you choose to remain anonymous about the names?
At the moment, the Supreme Court's Gender Sensitization and Internal Complaints Committee excludes judges. When allegations are made against them, the 1999 guidelines which the judiciary has accepted mean that in fact the Chief Justice appoints a committee of 3 judges to inquire. I put it to you, gender sensitization is such a sensitive subject, such a topical and important subject in India today. Why shouldn't judges be brought under the Supreme Court's committee and treated like everyone else when it comes to the issue of sexual molestation?
I agree, provided there are prima facie allegations which warrant that course.
But the important thing is you agree they should be brought under the Gender Sensitization Committee. You agree?
I agree.
Let's come back briefly to Justice Ganguly. He is at the moment chairman of the West Bengal Human Rights Commission. Should he resign?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because according to him, this allegation is the basis. Why should he? Mamta may want to resign, but he won't oblige her.
Is it fitting that a judge who has been accused now in public of sexual molestation, with the corollary that this may not be the only instance, that there may be 3 more such allegations, but the parties involved haven't gone public, should such a man hold the high office of chairman of the West Bengal Human Rights Commission?
We are in the realm of accusations, Karan.
What about the question that Caesar's wife should be beyond reproach? Surely the chairman of the Human Rights Commission must be beyond reproach. If people are pointing a finger and saying he sexually molested me, should he continue in that job?
But if he says, I deny those allegations, and if he can make that good, you see in a court of law, Karan, very often a case which seems a winning case, open and shut case, turns out to be later.
Even if he denies it, it's his word against the intern's word, which is one reason why she was hesitant to go public to begin with.
Suppose it transpires that his allegations were unfounded. Let's not say malicious or anything, completely unfounded.
So you're giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, suppose, then what happens? He should resign now as chairman of the Human Rights Commission. If your logic is accepted, anyone who is occupying important positions must resign when an allegation is made, which the man denies. I can understand admission. Okay, yes, sorry, I did that.
One last question.
Dangerous precedent. Very dangerous.
Justice Ganguly, I believe, has applied to join the India International Centre. You are president of the India International Centre. Should a man who's been accused in public of sexual molestation and assault be accepted as a member of the centre, or are those grounds for rejecting him?
Well, we'll consider this when the application comes up. He made an application, the committee with trustees all sit together and then consider it.
But as president of the centre, what's your initial inclination to accept him?
At this stage, I will not accept or reject, wait for further material to come. If it is established and if it is grave doubt.
In other words, at this stage, your inclination is to keep his application in abeyance.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Let's take a break at that point. When I come back, I want to turn to the second disquieting instance of sexual assault that has hit the papers and television this week, Tarun Tejpal. That's in a moment's time. See you after this. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an interview with India's former Attorney General and Solicitor General, Soli Sorabji. Mr. Sorabji, let's come to the Tarun Tejpal case. Many people believe that his response and behavior after being accused of sexual assault has not only been inept, but ill thought out and possibly inexplicable. Speaking as a lawyer, does his behavior make sense, or do you feel it's damaged him further?
Well, Tarun, he has made certain statements and there are flip-flops, which I think Tarun should have avoided that. I don't understand. Reading it, I've not examined the case in detail, but there are many flip-flops. There are inconsistencies in the statement.
These inconsistencies
don't sound credible.
These inconsistencies, these flip-flops, this lack of credibility, has it damaged him further?
I suppose it would. In any eye of the public, any fair-minded person would think of what he's talking about. He's saying one thing here, then it's flip-flop, and there's the girl who's... And somehow it doesn't ring true. Rings hollow.
Let's come to some specifics. To begin with, his response to a summons from the Goa police. He first asked for 48 hours. When that was refused, he said he would present himself on Friday by 3 p.m. When a non-bailable warrant of arrest was issued, he was unavailable at any of the addresses given in his bail application.
Was it issued, not available?
It was indeed, on Thursday evening. And he was unavailable on Friday in any of the addresses given in his bail application. Finally, he only left Delhi at 2:30 on Friday, thus making it impossible to keep his own commitment of being present by 3 p.m. on Friday. Do you get the feeling that he was playing games with the police?
Well, you may get the feeling, but I don't think we should completely discredit his explanation, because he was only told that evening before he must have time. That's what he said. He was only Or maybe learn to the press. What's his explanation? I don't know exactly.
Let's come to some of the comments that he's made and the interviews that he's given that have attracted great attention. To begin with, he said on the 19th in his email to the victim that he admitted to a sexual liaison on 2 occasions despite your clear reluctance that you didn't want such attention from me.
That's
4
clear?
days.
That's the email clear?
That's the email. That's his email. He doesn't disown it. That's what he said on the 19th. 4 days later, in an interview to the Economic Times, he suddenly said it was only on 1 occasion or 2, and he claimed it was consensual. On the same day, in an email interview or response to the Indian Express, he said that the victim's account is totally mendacious, and he said, I'm being framed. Is Tarun Tejpal wise to keep contradicting himself, or is that an error?
No, as I said, it's really foolish for a person to do that. Even a person having any sympathy for him would say, what's he talking about? What are these flip-flops? Which makes his explanation inherently improbable.
Now, in fact,
not worthy of acceptance.
In fact, if it is truly the case that the victim's account is mendacious, as Tejpal claims, if it is truly the case that he's being framed, as he claims, then do you think he's made a grave mistake in his email to Shoma Chaudhary, where he unconditionally apologized? He said he felt the need to atone. He said he would undertake penance that lacerates me, and he also claimed to be recusing himself from the editorship for 6 months. I mean,
that was the penance.
But a man whose conscience is clear doesn't apologize, he doesn't atone, he doesn't do penance. Did he make a mistake putting all of that into his email? Because when you apologize, are you not suggesting you've done something wrong, and are you not suggesting
Yes,
guilt?
Karan, I think he was not only foolish, he was confused, and I think he behaved in a manner which did harm to his own cause.
Now he's gone further. He's also said, or his lawyers on his behalf have said, that the girl continued to party after the alleged incident happened, that she continued to be normal. She even went to the beach, they said, the next day. Is it right?
Who went to the beach?
The girl, so they say.
With whom? Tarun?
Not with Tarun, no, she went to the beach to have fun or to enjoy herself.
Very well. She wasn't traumatized.
Is it right to use the girl's subsequent behavior to diminish or demolish her accusation of sexual assault? Is that a correct and proper thing to do?
Well, they might try to, this is a way to undermine the girl's credibility, her evidence. You can show that. That if a girl was traumatized, this goes against it. This meditates against her account. You can do it.
As a lawyer, you're saying that's an acceptable tactic.
Acceptable.
What about another tactic that they've used? They are now suggesting by innuendo that in fact the girl is part of a political conspiracy or a political plot or a political scheme, presumably perpetrated by the BJP, to entrap Tarun Tejpal. Many people believe that is slander. How do you as a lawyer view that tactic?
I don't know slander, but I think it's a fantastic claim. It has not done Tarun any good. Where bring the political conspiracy theory? That shows his desperation. Not only confusion, his follower, but desperation. Now I'm afraid he's going to pay a price for that.
In fact, Tarun Tejpal and his lawyers have gone one step beyond that as well. They've also claimed that the FIR lodged by the Goa police is part of a mala fide scheme. They've almost explicitly said that the Goa police is being used by the BJP state government to unleash the wrath of its vengeance.
Bangara Lakshman.
But what they have in mind is that because Tarun Tejpal in 2001 launched what was called Operation West End, which resulted in Bangaru Lakshman and George Fernandez resigning, now the BJP is seeking revenge. Is that an acceptable claim that rings true with Soli Sorabji? You were, after all, Attorney General for the BJP government.
Doesn't ring true for me. But when you are challenging an FIR, the limited grounds, and one of the grounds is saying it's mala fide, and maybe they were alleging this, that he was responsible for
Let me put this to you. You're a lawyer. Is it a wise and sensible tactic to raise, or is it going to run against him, at least in terms of how public opinion views him?
Public opinion will be against him, whether it's wise or not. With hindsight, we can say many things, but all depends on how his lawyer assesses the situation in court. What she thinks will make a good impression of the court. I wouldn't use this argument.
You wouldn't have used it?
I won't use it.
Many people believe...
It's a fantastic thing. It's completely going out of the thing.
My last question. Many people believe that in fact Tarun Tejpal and his lawyers are deliberately politicizing the matter because they want to try and move the investigation away from the Goa police to a Congress-controlled investigation agency, possibly one like the CBI, in the hope or in the belief that that agency would be more lenient or more understanding. Do you think there could be some credibility to that?
Maybe. I don't know what material they have. But frankly, at the end of the day, the whole thing is his admissions, his letters, his flip-flops, legal arguments apart, at the bar of public opinion, I think Tarun Tejpal has fared badly.
Soli Sarabji, a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure.